This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Okay, good afternoon everyone. Shalom Aleichem, Bruchim Haba. We continue in the Orchos Chaim of the Rosh. We're in the Orchos Chaim, the Shabbos edition is Madura Shniya, and we are up to Ois Yud Zayin. In Ois Yud Zayin, the Rosh tells us, Sheyikba Su'uda Shlishis B'chol Shabbos Achar Mincha. You should set the time for the third meal on Shabbos after Mincha. The Rosh clearly holds, points out Rav Goldberg, like the opinion of the Rishonim and the Ramah and Archems and Reish Tzadi Aleph Sif Beis, who hold that you need to eat Shalosh Shudas after Mincha. The reason is because you can't eat until you daven. Archa Shulchanan in Sin Reish Tzadi Aleph Sif Daled writes another reason, Al Pi Kabbalah, that all the Sudai Shabbos were enacted after the Tefillah that it is associated with. And therefore, that would be another reason to eat Shalosh Shudas after Mincha. Okay? Ois Yud Ches. Sheyechabed es HaShabbos keberchas Hashem Aleikava shenasan lai. Honor the Shabbos in accordance with your monetary ability. The Rambam writes in Hilchos Shabbos, Parak Lamed Halacha Zayin, what is Oineg Shabbos? The Chachamim say you should be masakein the food, that it should be very tasty, fatty, and very delicious drinks in accordance with one's ability. And the more one spends, the greater one's expenditures are, and the more one fixes the food, meaning the more one prepares the food. Harei zeh meshubach. And if you can't afford it, even if you just boiled some vegetables for covered Shabbos, that is Oneg Shabbos, and you're not chayiv to distress yourself and borrow to be marbe b'machos Shabbos. But anyway, the more one spends on Shabbos, harei zeh meshubach. So that's what the Rosh is saying. B'mechabe the Shabbos keberchas Hashem leikav asher nasan lai. Sif Yud Tes. She'ya'arich shulchan b'chol matzoi Shabbos. Set the table every matzah Shabbos. V'yoichal afilu davar muat. And eat even something small. It almost seems like more important than the eating is setting the table. In other words, it's not enough just to grab a bite, but one should actually set the table because that's more kavod. In Orach Chaim, Siman Shin, Sif Aleph, the Mechaber says, L'olam yisader adam shulchanoi b'matzoi Shabbos. One should always set his table on Matzah Shabbos in order to escort the Shabbos, even if all you need to eat is a kazayis. Mishabura says from the Gemara, it's mashma, l'chadchila, you should have bread for shalosh shudas, like other sudas of Shabbos. L'chadchila, it's good to have meat or other dishes. And if you don't have, or if you're concerned for achila gasa, then you should be mekayim suda malava malka with mezoinos, or at the very least with fruits. Siv katan chaf. Sheyisayeya lechaveroi b'chama sheyitzarich begufay ubedvarav. Help your friend in whatever he may need, physically or with words. We know that Gemilas Chasadim is one of the fundamentals of Judaism, like the Rabbeinu Yonah teaches us that one of the Mailos Ha'elyonos is the Halachta B'drachav, and we know Gemilas Chasadim is greater than Tzedakah. Says Rabbeinu Yonah in the Sha'arei Tshuva, Shar Gimel Yisud Gimel, that a person is chayav l'troyach by seeking out the welfare of his people and try to be masakein what's good for his friend, whether the person is poor or wealthy. And the Talmud Devorah teaches us that we need to try to become similar to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that no sin or wrongdoing should in any way mitigate the chesed that we show others. Now, Mesilas Yesharim writes in Parak Yud Tes, I'm quoting from Rav Goldberg, that you try to help your friend physically, to alleviate their difficulties, like we say in Avos, v'noiseh ba'olam chaveroi, monetarily, spiritually, emotionally, whatever pleasantness, whatever goodwill you could generate, you should try to do so. And the famous words of Rabbi Yitzchak of Volozhin, he said over in the name of his father, that Reb Chaim Volozhiner would say, V'koi haya devarai eloi tamid. These were always his words to me. Shazeh kol ha'adam, loy la'atzmai nivra, rak lahoyel la'achrini, k'chol asher yimatzei b'koichai la'asois. Okay, and then the Rosh says, you should help your friend begufai uvidvarav. What does that mean, bidvarav? Sometimes you have to tell your friend something humorous to cheer up his spirits, to make him happy, to make him less forlorn. Like Rav Broika was, the Gemara in Tainus says on Chav Beis, was frequent in the marketplaces, Beileft, and Eliyahu Hanavi would often go there, and Rabbi Broika said to Eliyahu, who in this marketplace is a Ben Olam Haba? Until finally Eliyahu showed a few people, so Rabbi Broika asked, what do you do for a living? Are you a Rosh Hashiva? Are you a Rav? Are you a Marbitz Torah? They said, no, we're clowns. When we see people fighting, we make peace. And when we see people sad, we make them besimcha. We give them a humorous comment. As we know that humor is a very good thing, especially before you learn. Rabbi, before he would begin his shiur, he would always start with a good joke. Milsa de B'dichusa, the Ben La'ashri says that's alluded to in the beginning of this week's parasha. V'haya, Chazal say in v'haya alaloshen simcha. You know when you should be b'simcha? Ekev, which stands for koidem esek b'Torah, before you engage in learning. However, Rav Shlomo Kluger adds that humor is also good after you finish learning. Like we say, smeichim b'tseisam b'sasim b'vayam. It's not enough just to be sasim b'vayam. You also have to be smeichim b'tseisam. So if you see somebody despondent, down, give them a good word, cheer them up. That is a ticket to Gan Eden. Okay, that is Ois Chav. So Be'ez Hashem, perhaps we'll be able to finish tomorrow. Wishing everyone a wonderful day. Bracha v'hatzlacha v'chol tov.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.